I'm EZRAH reporting on the hottest issues and the biggest stories. This is the Manila Times. The government moves to freeze all assets owned by Congressman Arnie Teves and 12 of his cohorts as the Anti-Terrorism Council declares his group as terrorist for being involved in a series of violent political killings in Negros Oriental. Among these is the assassination of Governor Roel Digamo. ATC Deputy Spokesman Miko Clavano clarified, however, that no warrant of arrest has been issued yet for Teves, but hopes that this would immobilize Teves and force him to face allegations. National Security Council Assistant Director General Jonathan Malaya added that designation of the Teves terrorist group sends a clear message to all private armed groups in the country that they will be held accountable for their actions. Joining us is the legal counsel of Representative Teves, Attorney Ferdinand Topacio. Welcome to the Manila Times, sir. Attorney, it seems that the walls are closing in on Congressman Teves. So as his legal counsel, what is the next step for you? Do you plan on appealing on the ATC's decision and reverse this terrorist designation? Do you plan on filing it with the Supreme Court or Court of Appeals?
Well, for one, I will have to respectfully disagree with the premise that the walls are closing in. The government may do all it can to harass him, to make life difficult for him, to vex him, including using a law which was not intended for this purpose, which, as you said, according to Clavano, they are just forcing him to come home. The Anti-Terror Act was not designed for this. It is designed to prevent or suppress acts of terrorism. And, the walls will never close in on an innocent man. That is why right now, as we speak, I just took time off from a meeting with my legal team as we are discussing now the options available to us in the next few days with respect to this designation that was signed on July 26th, but which came out only yesterday, at the very day that the House Ethics Committee was conducting deliberations on whether or not to expel Congressman Teves. So you can see how the entire machinery of government is being arrayed against Congressman Teves.
Sir, you mentioned that the House is moving to expel Congressman Teves, ano? So, sir, how was the Anti-Terror Act misused in this case, as you said?
Well, for one, this law was not designed for these kinds of acts because, according to the very well-reasoned decision, the ponencia of which was made by Justice Carandang, there are two components to terrorism. It's not only acts of killing or releasing poisonous substances or making explosions, but there must be another component, which is to promote widespread fear, to intimidate or disrupt the government, which is just right because the Anti-Terror Act was enacted principally to combat two incidents in the past which have shaken the nation. The long-standing armed communist insurgency, which is the longest in Southeast Asia, and the Marawi siege. So you can see how far this is. Because if you are going to contend that every act of killing, that is why I am saying, even assuming, without conceding, of course, that there are acts of killing perpetrated by Congressman Teves, still it will not fall under terrorism. It will just be common crimes for which the law has already a procedure in place in order to prosecute such crimes.
Sir, what is your reaction to Senator Alan Peter Cayetano's statement that the designation as terrorist of the Teves brothers and their supposed associates aims to ensure that they could not wield influence and frustrate the investigation into the political killings in Negros Oriental?
That is off tangent because there is no influence to be wielded. He has been suspended. There is a virtual state of martial law in Negros Occidental, especially in the district of Congressman Teves. They are the ones who have been the victims. The Teveses have been the ones who are the victims of illegal searches. harassment tactics by the government. So what influence is he talking about? So with all due respect to the good senator, I think it misses the point entirely.
Sir, the AMLC has moved to freeze all his assets. Do you think this would force Representative Teves out of hiding? Because there's an ongoing preliminary investigation where he is asked to submit an answer and explain his side. But with his non-participation, the prosecutors will continue and to resolve the case based on the complaint alone. So the DOJ said there was no counter affidavit filed. So do you think he will turn up anytime soon to answer or face these allegations?
That is not true, actually. In all of the preliminary investigations of all the charges leveled against Congressman Teves, we have been fully participating. We have to understand that under the Constitution, any person under investigation for the commission of a crime or an offense has the right to be heard by himself or by counsel. So we are his counsels. We have submitted the necessary documents in the form of motions to dismiss in all of these cases because the bulk of the arguments are purely legal. The witnesses in the Degamo murder, all 10 of them have recanted their testimony. So the prosecution panel cannot operate in a vacuum. They cannot find probable cause where there is none and in the absence of any evidence. Remember that any person at all stages of a criminal investigation has the presumption of innocence in his favor. It is up to the government to prove that he is guilty. It is not up to us to prove that he is innocent because the law already presumes that. And the law, the Constitution itself, the fundamental law, says that you cannot compel any person accused of an offense or a crime to speak up. He has the right to remain silent, and that right extends to all stages of the prosecution.
Sir, I hear you, and we've all seen the video. It was a heinous crime to kill all of those people.
No doubt.
In Roel Digamo's home. So, sir, I've watched all of your interviews regarding this case, sir, and you mentioned at one point that there's a deeper, wider conspiracy to this. So you're saying that someone else is the mastermind to the assassination of Governor Roel Digamo?
Yes, it is. I agree. It is a heinous crime, but a heinous crime cannot be made less so if you are prosecuting the wrong person. That is why I'm saying there is more to this than meets the eye, because it seems that from day one, the government has been fixated on Congressman Teves. A month or so ago, there was a person who emerged saying that there was another mastermind. What did the Secretary of Justice do? He summarily dismissed the testimony of that person, even without an investigation. So I'm saying there is no chance at all, at least at the level of the Department of Justice, because the Secretary of Justice, who exercises supervision and administrative control over all prosecutors, have already said very early on that Teves is the mastermind. How can the prosecutors now find otherwise? In order to exonerate Teves, they will have to say impliedly that the Secretary of Justice is wrong, terribly wrong. What prosecutor is willing to do that at the risk of his or her career?
Sir, so Congressman Arnie Teves is currently absent, to God knows where, and I know you're not allowed to disclose that.
Well, I'm sure God knows where.
Yes. So, yes, I guess my question is, do you plan on filing an appeal on delisting him as a terrorist?
Yes, definitely. We will exhaust all legal remedies because that is my duty as a lawyer. And because I believe in my heart of hearts that my client is innocent of all these crimes.
Sir, do you think, since you, based on your statement, that there is someone else, another mastermind, not Teves, do you think Congressman Teves, with his cooperation, if and when he will cooperate, he would be able to point a finger to this supposed mastermind?
Congressman Teves is cooperating. In fact, in so many public pronouncements, he has already enumerated some possible masterminds. He said it could be a matter of a huge unpaid debt. It could be a matter of revenge. There is the love triangle angle. But unfortunately, as I've said, the DOJ is fixated on Congressman Teves. In their close minds, all other theories, all other possible masterminds, all other scenarios cannot enter anymore.
Sir, an alleged hitman of Teves was killed in a reported shootout with police in Bayawan City, Negros Oriental on Monday. Are you familiar with Alex Mayagma?
Never heard of him, and that is the operative word, alleged. Anyone can allege anything in the Senate, even in the DOJ. But then, as the Supreme Court said, accusation is not synonymous with guilt. You have to prove your allegation, otherwise there is no case at all. As in this case, where all of the witnesses in the Digamo murder have recanted their testimonies very early on, even before the case has gone to court.
Lastly, sir, this is more of a personal question. So his continued absence is making him a lot of enemies in the government, being trapped between a rock and a hard place. Almost. Do you plan on staying as Teves legal counsel until all of this is over?
Of course, definitely. EZRAH, I'm a grizzled veteran. I've been doing this for 32 years. And I have defended a lot of controversial people, Mayor Lim, President EZRAH. There was the fertilizer fund scam, 10 Little Indians, former President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, and I have prosecuted other cases. A lawyer cannot accept or decline cases based on how popular the side that he's taking is. My name is not Harry Roque. I'm willing to take on difficult, unpopular cases, even if it makes me enemies, because that is the advocacy of a lawyer. A lawyer who bases his acceptance of clients based on popularity is a traitor to his profession. So, I've done this time and again. President Arroyo was very wildly unpopular when she was being persecuted by the Aquino government. We were able to secure an acquittal. The fertilizer fund scam was very unpopular, the alleged perpetrators. But what happened? They were acquitted. EZRAH, in his tax case, was also acquitted of paying 2.9 billion pesos. I could go on and on, but I can rest assure you that when I take on a case, I see it to its very end, notwithstanding its unpopularity or the danger to myself or any enemies I may make. Because, I would like to end this interview with a quote. This is a poem by a British statesman. He says, "You have no enemies, you say. My friend, the boast is poor. He who has waded in the fray of public interest must have made foes. If you have none, poor is the work that you have done."
Remaining strong as always. Thank you so much, Legal Counsel Representative Teves, Attorney Ferdinand Topacio. Maraming salamat.
Thank you very much. My pleasure, and God bless.
Thank you, sir.